Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today it is Christmas Day. I've had an amazing day so far. I hope you have had an amazing day as well. It's been a little while since a video has come out, but I haven't really made a schedule for making these videos. It's just kind of been whenever I felt compelled to make a video, or when God told me to make a video, I would make one. And today I noticed that I was getting back in the groove of the mouthpiece, and that it had to be used again. So today I'm back again. Like I said, I hope you're having a wonderful day. And yeah, let's talk, because I got a lot to talk about. Today we're going to talk about power. We're going to talk about strength. We're going to talk about healing. We're going to talk about the world. We're going to talk about a lot of things today, because I've been looking at a lot of things today. Personally, I've really been going on a journey, not only of self-discovery, but self-alignment, aligning myself in the divine consciousness of God, in the divine will of God. And let's start with that, because one big revelation that I had before I came to God, I was busy with consciousness. Consciousness was the main focus. I wanted to have the highest consciousness possible, using perception and perspective as the two main pieces to direct my life and to create, to use the energy, to use the creative energy that I had as a being, as a person, however you want to look at it. Now, I always thought after I came to God that this was something that I was going to have to let go of so God can create and let be. But now I see that working on consciousness, it wasn't a bad move at all. I see that the way that it can be used, and that it's actually very necessary to increase the capacity of your consciousness and your perspective, so God can give you more of the vision that He has for you, and now today has really been a day where everything has come together, and this is one of those things that have been put into place for me. Now, for anybody that is struggling, maybe with having a certain self-image or a perspective about the things that is going on inside of their life, understand that your perspective is aligned to a certain state of being. And that if you want to go ahead and make changes towards the state of being, you actually come into this vicious cycle of changing your perspective, and then that will change your state of being, state of mind, and that then will kind of be a feedback loop. If you are in a negative cycle right now, understand that you can step out of that. It starts by looking at a couple things that have overcome what you are dealing with right now. And the biggest thing to look at is God. God has overcome the world, has overcome the sin, has overcome all the troubles that you are dealing with today. So understand that when you look at God, you're looking at the overcomerance, if that's even a word, I'm not sure. But you're looking at the thing that has overcome the problem that you're dealing with. So by looking at that, you are automatically putting yourself in a feedback loop of increasing your state of being to a higher level, so you can free yourself from this messed up perspective that you are having. So that's revelation number 1. Now let's go to revelation number 2, and bear with me here. I've had a long day and I'm kind of tired, but I wanted to get this word out. And revelation number 2 came from a verse that I was able to receive from the Lord with all my heart, that really spoke to me. So I'm going to read it to you right now. It's Isaiah 41 verses 13. For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear, I will help you. Now, when I read this verse, and I prayed in the car before reading this verse, I prayed, Lord, what is the word that I may receive from you? I was feeling down. I was feeling like I was kind of alone. I was really reflecting on the time where I felt so alone that nobody was there to really see me, to help me, to be there for me in my life. And I said, Lord, what is the word that I may receive from you in this moment? And this is what He gave me. Now for me, imagining that Jesus is literally sitting right next to you, taking my hand and saying, I will help you, was a powerful, powerful blessing of an experience that I've got to have in the recent past time, and I really feel convicted that with this verse and experience that I have, that I got to let the people know that you're not alone. You're not alone, and help is right there with you, even when you don't realize it. And that's why I'm also building this off of the first point that I made about perspective and consciousness. Help is already there. You are being helped 24/7 more than you could imagine. It's just your state of being is not allowing you to see that. So now that we have just talked about looking at the right things, looking at what has overcome the trouble that you are dealing with, now let's talk about accepting the help that you've been getting already. Because it sounds like that should be an easy thing, but no, it's actually a very difficult thing to step out from the mindset of I'm alone in this and I'm a victim, or I'm a fighter, I'm a warrior that needs to face this all alone and I will take the lessons from it, or I will suffer through this and endure until I can't anymore. To step from that perspective and to step into I am loved, I am protected, I am cared for, I am helped at every single moment of each day. That's a huge transition to make. But today I want to encourage you and I want to speak to your heart when I say that you are helped and that you are loved and that you are free to realize this. So don't let no messed up perspective or state of mind put you in a position where this is something that you cannot accept. I've done that for years. It is not productive. It will not bring you anywhere. Now let's go to point 3. Productivity. Productivity has always been the main focus when it came to my holistic journey. I've always wanted to be as productive as possible with all the tools that I had that were given to me. My mind, my emotion, my body, my soul, my ego, everything had to be a productive resource that I was able to funnel into the things that I deemed important so that I could be a strong individual that could direct my life and build the life the way that I wanted it to. Now, excuse me for the cut, but now this productivity led to me actually being overproductive and getting into a burnout because I was focused too much on the productivity of myself instead of my actual self. I wasn't focusing on how I was as a person. I was just focusing on how I was doing as a person. And when it comes to productivity and also intense productivity, to like really put that productivity as such an intense focus on all parts of yourself is very straining. When it comes to productivity with God, God can make gold out of mud. And when you truly walk the life with God, it doesn't matter what you are doing, you are creating something of value each and every day when you're truly walking with the Lord, right? Now, also this verse, for I am the Lord your God who takes a hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear, I will help you. This verse, man, when it came to me and productivity and accepting that, yes, I have built myself to be as productive as possible, but I don't need to be this productive in the sense that I don't need to do this every single day. I have the Lord who is here to help me. I mean, that was also a big perspective shift for me. Something that I needed time to accept and time to really apply to my life and allow into my life. And that brings me to the 4th point. I wasn't aiming for this to be a list, but now it is. But that brings me to the 4th point, which is allowing yourself, first of all, to step into more power. And now let's talk about power. Now let's talk about strength. I'm at a point in my life where I can look at everything that is troubling me with a confident smile and say, I have already defeated you. Even though I might be dealing with it still, I might be in the middle of the process of fighting the demons that I need to fight. I know in my heart that I've already defeated it. But I also know what it's like to be on the other side, to feel like whatever you're going through has already defeated you, and that you're just waking up for no reason, because every day is just another loss for you to endure, for you to suffer through. I understand what that feels like. But I want to talk about allowing yourself to step into power, because it's right there, just like the help. And now that we are shifting perspectives, now that we are accepting the help that we are already getting, now that we are, really stepping into the power that we have access to, that we've been having access to all this time. And how do we do such a thing? Well, it's quite simple, actually. You've already taken the first steps by changing your perspective, putting yourself in a different state of mind. Now what is important for you to do is just take one more step. And that one more step will look like you really looking at your perception. So not your perspective, really looking at your perception, like the thing that looks itself, right? You're going to look at your perception and you're going to use that and focus it on all the powerful things that stand in the new identity that you have with Christ. So again, we are shifting perspectives. We have accepted the help that we've already been getting. We have allowed Jesus to come into our lives and to, fill us up more. And now we're going to actively take the step to look at all of the powerful things of Christ and understand that that is part of our identity. Now, why is it necessary to do this, man? The world is in a evil state. We all need to realize this. The world is in an evil state. And as much as I've been desiring to just live the dream life, to live happily ever after, and just to go do my spontaneous stuff and enjoy my life, and I still want to make time to do that, but I'm gonna let that go, at least the focus of that go, because today has been the day where my senses have really picked up on what is actually going on. Evil is out and about. It's freely walking. It's not scared anymore. We gotta understand this. And I encourage everybody today to step into this power, to shift their perspective, because there is access to the powerful Spirit of Christ all this time. And it's the same Spirit that got me through all of the things. It's the same Spirit that even allowed me to focus on a holistic journey and to build myself up to be, or to build my system up to be what it is today. That's the same Spirit that you have access to. And so many times I'm looking around me and I'm just not seeing it in people's eyes. I see defeat. I see lost. I see and feel sadness and just misery and drowsiness, tiredness, just exhaustion. And meanwhile, I do understand that, again, the journey towards where I am today, for me at least, it was a 16-year-long journey of a lot of chaos and hate and pain. So I understand, like no other, that the road to stepping into a powerful Spirit is a difficult one. But there is access. And in today's world, I feel like it is much easier to lose even the knowledge of a different perspective than to be encouraged to step into this different perspective and to apply it to your life, so you can step into who you actually are and live a blissful and happy life. And it won't be blissful and happy because of the circumstances, but because you are rooted in the right identity. You are rooted in who you truly are, and you are rooted in the source that is the best for you, that wants the best for you. That's what it's about. And with that being said, I now want to go ahead and talk about my previous video, or at least one of the two previous videos that I made, which was the podcast where I said enough is enough, stepping up against the suffering. That video comes with a different kind of energy, a different kind of spirit. It comes with a lot of aggression. I was cursing a lot more, but that is the energy that I needed to step out of this perspective that I was in, to step out of the suffering and the daily cycle of the negative feedback loop that I was in. And it was a deep one, because I was lost completely to the point where I did not have any connection to my feelings anymore. My face, my body, unrecognizable, my mind full of darkness and dark thoughts, fighting suicide every single day. And it took that aggression and that kind of energy, that spirit, to be able to step out of that. And so, however good that was, I also want to encourage you to go watch that video again and again and again if you need to understand where that energy is coming from, but also understand that the road towards a powerful Spirit can be a gentle and loving one. And I say that in that video, but I'm saying it in this one again, because I talk about this like it's very simplistic, right? Change your perspective, allow God into your life, look at Him, for He has overcome your difficulties. step into the power. It all sounds so simple when I talk about it, but that's because I've been meditating, studying, researching, contemplating this for years now. So to me, yes, the process is very simplistic, but like I said, it's a difficult process. And enabled to do that process, enabled to start that process, you need that little edge of aggression to say, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And in my previous podcast, that this energy was captivated really well, I think, and I think it's very important to go ahead and watch it. So if you haven't seen that, go ahead and watch that. With that being said, now that we have taken a gentle first step towards looking at things another way, don't forget the verse. Don't forget the verse. I'll read it again. For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear. I will help you. Do not forget the verse. Don't forget the verse. You know why you don't want to forget the verse? Because it's God's promise. And if there's one thing that I can vouch for, is that God always makes his promise true. Soon as he said it, it is done. So when he says, do not fear, do not fear. You don't have to. And I really want you to realize that you don't have to. God has overcome everything going on in your life, going on within you. He has overcome it all. Do not fear. He says, I will help you. And so he will. Just alone what God has done in my life through me to the people that needed it. Trust me, God is looking out for each and every one of us. He's looking out for you. He is doing the best he can for you. But we have free will. He must be allowed into our life. He is not a forceful God. He's a just one. And more often than not, we choose misery, suffering, and depression over the love of God for many reasons. But the reason why a lot of broken people, a lot of people that went completely wrong in life, end up with God is because, yes, they are pushed to a point where God is the only option. But that means that, and I have personal experience in this because I went through everything before I truly walked with God, but that means that we are pushed with so much trouble that we just cannot get out of, that we have tried so many different things in our life to fix them and to get through it without success, that we are pushed to a point where we need to go to the being that is outside of the universe, that is above the universe, that has overcome it all. And for me, the reason why it took so long is because I made it a long way without God. I genuinely did. I made it a long way with other resources, with other outlooks, with other philosophies, with my own skills that I've built up over the years. But did I make it completely to where I wanted to be? Hell no. And in the 4 months now, 6 months that I've been walking with God, he has done more for me that I intended to do for myself than I could even fucking imagine. You know, he's done so much for me, and he's doing so much for you as well at this moment. And I really want you to hear that and to understand that, you know, there's someone, there's something looking out for you, and that it is okay to allow yourself to step back or to step in for the first time into the powerful spirit that is also remaining in you, because it's already in you. For all that darkness that you're finding inside yourself, there's 2 times the amount of light. And we as a species, we don't get told enough You know, we get told in corny ways, but we don't get told enough that it is all right to be powerful, that it is all right to step up against our misery and do that where it really matters, through our perception, through our perspective. And whatever helps to build that, please go ahead and do that. If you need therapy, if you need journaling, if you need any other thing, but do it with God, involve God into it, so that you may be protected from the other consequences that might come from the way that you choose to build your perspective up. This entire video is really just a call for anybody that is in deep shit, for anybody that's been where I've been. This video is a call to, first of all, understand that you're cared for. Second of all, see that there is another side to whatever you're going through, that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And third of all, to just allow yourself to step back into that power and do it the right way. Go to the source, man. Go to your perspective right away. I went through it one by one. I started with my emotion, then my mind, then my body, then my life. And then I went through all the different philosophies, all the wisdom that you could attain, just to realize the power of perspective and the power of perception. And it is a very valuable lesson that like I said, not only I get to use, but God gets to use every single day through me. And I've seen the amount of impact that truly has. But what I'm saying is, it's not a shortcut to go right away towards that point. It's not a shortcut to go right towards your perspective, right towards your perception. Our eyes, our minds, our hearts get clouded, blinded, and misdirected on a daily. Sooner we come to understand that, sooner we can step into a better and more powerful spirit, sooner that we can step into the blessing and the love and the peace that we have been promised. Many of you must be feeling like God forsake you. God is still there, and maybe hearing me say that angers you because you're like, well, where the fuck is he? Then I don't see it. You're the one that's running. And I want you to understand that that's logical. That of course you're running. You're being misguided. You're being misdirected. Of course you're running. Of course you're running from the place that can save you, from the being that can save you. You're lost, you're confused, and it's okay to admit that. The sooner you admit and acknowledge the perspective that you actually have on yourself, the sooner you take away its power. Because right now, if you are suffering on the daily deeply, like, again, if you have deep daily suffering for a long time now, understand that that is just a perspective that you have picked up and are being held on to for way too long. That's it, bro. It's a perspective. All of these things that are coming, it's a perspective. It's all coming from your perception, the way you look at yourself, the way you look at life, the way you look at things. So be open-minded to open up yourself, open up your heart, open up your mind to see things differently. Not because it's the logical thing to do, not because you necessarily need to do it, not because I tell you to do it, not because this is the only way to fix yourself or fix your life. Just do it. Don't try to feed yourself a reason to do it. Don't seek for whys to do it, but just do it. Just step into the different perspective. For some of you, this must have been a very confusing video, or maybe a very confronting one, maybe a very heavy one. But you can take all of that away by just doing it, just changing your perspective. Just acknowledge the perspective you have right now and say, all right, this is not the one. We're going to go to this one now. We're going to go and look at God. We're going to go and look at the power that he has. We're going to go and acknowledge that he's helping me. We're going to go and seek the help that he is giving me. We're going to go ahead and step into the bliss and the power that he has already set out for me. We're going to go and step into the identity that Christ has built me with, we're going to step into the room, sit on the table that he has for me. Because if you're watching this video, you've already been called many times, many times, many times. We've been trying to reach you. You ain't been picking up the phone. Now you're here, you picked up the phone. And this is really just a call. Just go ahead and do it. You don't need a why. You don't need a why. Deep down, you already know your why. Why go ahead and try to put words to your why? Your why is because. If you want to put an equation, why am I doing this? Because I'm doing it. That's it. Let's keep it simple. Take away the heavy loading. Take away the philosophical aspects of it all and just put it in its most simplistic nature. We're going to go ahead and do all the things I just said. Change our perspective. Accept God. See his help. See his bliss. See his power. See all that he has for us. For you. For me. For all of us. We're going to go ahead and put the perspective into our mind that we are not alone. We're going to go ahead and open our hearts towards the goodness of God. And we're going to just go ahead and do it right now. We're going to acknowledge it. We're going to speak it out. We're going to say that we acknowledge the Lord as our Lord and Savior, that we acknowledge Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior, that we see the help that he has been providing for us. We're going to go ahead and say that we acknowledge the love that he has for us. We're going to go ahead and say that this perspective that we have built is not the one that was meant for us. We're going to go ahead and say that now it is time for a different perspective, and now it is time to allow ourselves to step back into what is actually meant for us. That now it is time that we accept the powerful spirit so we can overcome just like God has overcame already. We're going to go ahead and say that it is all right to transform. We're going to go ahead and say that it is all right to look with different eyes. We're going to go ahead and say that it is all right to let go of all of the things that have held you comfortable and lonely. We're going to go ahead and say that it is all right to do something different today. We're going to go ahead and say that it's all right for us to start again. We're going to go ahead and say that all of the things that have been troubling us mean nothing. Why? Because they don't mean anything anymore. They are not part of our identities. They are not part of ourselves. They are not part of our lives. It is a simple perspective that is holding back and distracting us from what actually matters. We're going to go ahead and say that all those real problems that are going on in our life, yes, they are real. They're not something we can just woof away. But we're going to go ahead and say that we acknowledge that the problems have already been solved. Not by us, but by the one that made us. And at the end of the day, we're going to go ahead and say thank you. Thank you for another day. You go to sleep, you wake up, you say to yourself, stay close to myself today. Have a blessed day. And peace.